Everyone thinks managing money is complicated. Spreadsheets, budget, tracking every single rupee. And because it feels complicated, most people never start. But what if the whole thing just came down to three numbers? Not three steps, not three accounts, just three numbers. And once you know them, you'll know exactly where every rupee belongs. Think about the moment your salary first arrived. That first credit notification. Exciting, right? But almost immediately, a quiet panic sets in. What do I do with this? How much is too much spending? How much should I be saving? Nobody teaches this, and without a framework, most people figure it out as they go, which means that they don't figure it out at all. Now, what if instead of guessing, you had a simple framework? One which tells you where you should exactly put your money as soon as your salary arrives. No complicated math, no tracking every rupee. Just three numbers 50, 30, 20. Let's see how these numbers actually look like in two people's lives. Meet Neha and Rohan, both 22, who just got their first job, both moving to a new city for the first time, and both earning the same salary 30,000 a month. Before Neha's first day even begins, she does something most people don't. She sits down and figures out her numbers. She comes across a simple rule: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. And she decides to try it. Rohan, on the other hand, is excited. First job, first salary, new city. He figures he'll sort the money stuff out as he goes. First thing both of them need: a place to stay. Neha does the math first. She keeps a budget of 15,000 for her needs. She looks for a flat but quickly realizes flats in the city don't fit her budget. So she finds a PG close to her office costing 12,000 a month, stay and food included. She keeps a budget of 1,000 for her transport, so her total needs come to 14,000, which is under her budget. Rohan finds a 2 BHK, shares it with a friend. His portion 16,000. It's a nice place, feels reasonable for a city. He doesn't do any calculation. It just feels right. The first arrives. Salaries are credited. 30,000 each month. Neha moves her 6,000 first. Before rent, before food, before anything. Then pays her PG. Then sets aside her wants. Everything is allocated under 10 minutes. Rohan pays rent. 16,000 gone immediately. He pays 6,000 for groceries and transport. 8,000 is remaining. Feels like enough. By the 15th, Neha has been out with her friends once. Ordered Swiggy a couple of times. Joined gym. She checks her account. She is still on track. Her budget for her wants is half used. Savings is still untouched. Rohan has also been out with his friends. Ordered Zomato more than he planned. Bought a few things online. He checks his account, 4,000 left. Thinks that should be enough for the rest of the month. End of the month arrives. Neha saved around 9,300. She enjoyed guilt free with no anxiety. She knows exactly where every rupee went. Rohan, on the other hand, is left with 500 and he's not sure where it all went. Same city, same salary, same month. The only difference: Neha had a system, Rohan didn't. And if Rohan had chosen a PG near his office, his entire scenario would be completely different. Not because he earned more, but because he planned well. So, what was Neha actually following? She had divided her salary into three buckets, not randomly, but in the ratio of 50, 30, and 20. 50% of your salary goes to needs, things you must pay regardless: rent, food, transport, bills. None of these are negotiables. 30% goes to wants, things that make life enjoyable: dining out, subscriptions, shopping, weekends. Not guilty pleasures, planned pleasures. And 20% goes to savings and investing. This leaves first before anything else. For a 30,000 salary, that looks like this: 15,000 for needs, 9,000 for wants, and 6,000 for savings. Now, here's what most people miss: these percentages are not targets, they are ceilings, the maximum amount you should spend, not the amount you should aim to reach. If your needs come to 12,000 instead of 15,000, that extra 3,000 doesn't go to wants, it goes to savings. If your wants come to 6,000 instead of 9,000, that extra 3,000 doesn't disappear, it goes to savings. The goal isn't to reach 30%, the goal is to stay under it. Simple, right? No spreadsheets, no complicated formulas, just 3 buckets. Fill them in the right order and spend what is left guilt free. Now, here's where most people get stuck: 50% for needs, 30% for wants. Sounds simple. But the moment you sit down and actually categorize your expenses, the lines get blurry. Is Swiggy a need or a want? Is gym membership a need or a want? Is Netflix a need or a want? What about your phone bill? Your morning coffee? That's exactly where Rohan got confused. He had 5,000 budget for food, but Swiggy felt like food, so he ordered anyway. On top of his food budget, in his head it was a need. In reality, it was a want. So, how to tell the difference? Two simple questions. Run any expense through them. Question 1: could you survive without it? If no, it's a need. Food, rent, transport, medicine. These things pass the test. You cannot function without them. But some things get tricky. Let's take Swiggy for example. Do you need food? Yes. But does it make it your need? Not necessarily. Because question 1 is not enough to catch everything. That's where the second question comes in. Is there a cheaper alternative that serves the same purpose? If no, it's a need. If yes, that's a want. Let's run Swiggy through both. Could you survive without Swiggy? Yes. You could cook and eat in a local mess. Is there a cheaper alternative? Yes. Groceries or mess cost far less, so Swiggy is a want, not a need. Let's try a phone bill. Could you survive without it? No. Is there a cheaper alternative? Yes. A basic plan that covers call and data is just fine. So a basic phone plan is a need, but the premium plan with extra data, that's a want. The need is the function, the want is the upgrade. Now you must be thinking, that sounds great, but it doesn't apply to my situation. My rent alone is more than 50% of my salary. The 50-30-20 rule doesn't apply to me. And that's completely a valid concern. If you're living in Mumbai, Bangalore, or Delhi, rent can easily eat up more than half of your salary, especially on a starting salary. If your needs are 60%, adjust your wants down to 20%. Keep the savings at 20%. That 60-20-20 still works. If your situation is tighter, maybe it's 70-10-20 or even 75-5-20. The exact percentages can flex, but one number should never go to zero. Savings. Even saving 5% of 30,000 is 1,500 a month. That's 18,000 a year from just 5%. Something is always better than nothing. And as your salary grows, your needs percentages should shrink because your rent and food don't double every time you get a raise, but your savings can. So don't use your city or your salary as a reason to not have a system. Adapt the numbers and keep the structure. So let's say you have a structure. You are saving every month. Maybe 20%, maybe 10%, or maybe even 5%. A question that comes up is, does the amount I save really matter, or where I invest matters more? Most people focus on finding the best returns, the best mutual funds, the best stocks, thinking that higher returns will fix everything. But the math tells a very different story. Let's go back to Neha and Rohan. 10 years have passed. Neha has been saving 6,000 a month, consistently. Rohan, after realizing what's happening, he course corrected. He now manages to save 1,500 a month. But Rohan tells himself, it's okay I save less. I'll make up for it with better investments. So Rohan finds investments giving him 12% annual returns. Neha plays it safe, 8% annually. Rohan has better returns, but Neha saves 4 more times every month. 10 years later, Rohan has 3,45,000 and Neha has nearly 11 lakhs. Now if you're wondering how we got these numbers, this is the power of compounding at work. We broke this down in detail in the video, The Real Reason You're Not Getting Rich. Link is in the description. Go check it out. Neha has 3 times more money despite lower returns simply because she saved more every single month. You can't outinvest a low savings rate. No amount of return can fix that. The best decision you can take is not looking for the right investment. Simply save more. And 50-30-20 rule gives you exactly that structure. Here's one exercise for this week. Open your phone, look at your last month's expenses. Sort every expense into 3 buckets: needs, wants, and savings. Then compare where you are against where 50, 30, 20 says you should be. And the gap you see is your starting point. Not a reason to feel bad, a reason to start. If this video gave you clarity, please subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming next. And if you have any questions, please drop it down in the comments. Thank you and see you later.